Hello, this is Dragon 1400, and this is All Grown Up, Season 2, Episode 10 review. The name of the episode is The Finster Who Stole Christmas. Let me tell you right from the start that I love this episode. This episode is probably like one of my favorites, if not my favorite episode of the entire series. So what we have going on here is we have Chucky, who's really kind of depressed about Christmas because every year his dad doesn't really celebrate Christmas that well, and it's always a disaster. And him and Tommy think it's because of their tree. So he tries to get a better tree. However, Chaz, Chucky's dad, is like, no, we want this bad tree. He just has a thing about picking out bad trees. So Chucky's down. He sees this tree next to the garbage, and he thinks that the family's throwing out the tree. So he grabs it without knowing it that they didn't throw it out. They just set it there so that they could put it in later. Anyway, so after Chucky finds out, he gets freaked out, and he thinks that basically he's going to get smited by God. By the way, huge plus for mentioning God in this episode, and I'll get more into that later. Now Chucky's freaking out, and he tries to buy another tree, but he gets destroyed. And then Tommy has the idea of stealing back the tree and giving it to the family that Chucky accidentally stole it from. So he does that, and we got a couple side plots going on here. One of the side plots related to the main plot is that Kimmy and Kira are kind of having really bad travel situations going on because they missed their first flight, so they got bunked, and it's just a lot of bad stuff's going on there, and Chucky's kind of blaming himself that Kimmy and Kira won't be there for Christmas. They end up showing up because Chucky actually ends up returning the tree and everything like that. The other secondary plot is we got Dill and Tommy, and I really like the fact that though Tommy was in the main plot and a side plot, Dill actually mentioned, "Where have you been?" Like, because Dill was part of that other side plot of Tommy and Dill making a Hanukkah song, a Jewish song. And I do like it's not really another side plot, but it was there that Susie sang at the church, and I really like that they showed the church. And I personally don't mind that they had a Jewish song there, because Christianity did come from Jewish, and we both do believe like in the Old Testament. Now, where we disagree on is whether or not Jesus is the Messiah. I, of course, am a Christian. I fully believe that Jesus Christ is the Messiah, so I do think Jewish people were wrong. However, being a Christian, I do believe that the Jews have a special place in God's heart. I will not get big into that. However, I just want to mention it. Now into the characters. I really did like seeing Chucky displayed in this light. Now, the difference between this episode and the last episode of Izzy or Isn't He is that Chucky was kind of displayed in that episode as a bad person, kind of an antagonist towards Izzy, and he was being kind of mean overall. This episode, Chucky made a mistake. He stole a tree, but he didn't know. He thought they were throwing it out, so he made a mistake. But then he was upset. So he wasn't really painted as an antagonist in that way. I also really liked Lil's character for once. I really think this episode, it didn't really give Lil character development, but she had some really good lines, and she actually directly mentioned God. A lot of characters reference God, but she actually directly mentioned God, and it is a line that we should all definitely follow. Lil said that God will forgive you. Like, I think she said, no matter what you did, Chucky, God will forgive you. And I just really like that. It was really special. Also, there are some hints towards Lil might have some feelings for Chucky or being attracted, because at one point she said, "I never seen you this way. It's kind of attractive." And another line way before that was, "I never seen you like this, so brave," or something like that. So there were some Chucky and Lil moments there on Lil's side, because Chucky was so focused on this other stuff going on. So I really like seeing that. I really like seeing Lil being actually supportive to Chucky, unlike the last episode, which is very contradicted to the last episode, by the way. So we all got all that going on. We get to see really good character development for Chucky. Chucky's a very complex character. He has a lot of different sides to him. He's kind of like Angelica in the sense that they're the two most complex character of the series, I personally feel. So we have Chucky being scared, like he wanted to have a better Christmas and stuff like that, and then he just freaks out when he thinks he's gonna get smited by God. By the way, it was I thought the reference towards God being in the burning bush was pretty good. A little scary. Of course, it was a nightmare and everything like that. So it is what it is. But I did like that reference there. Anyway, so Chucky's character, like he kind of like just freaks out and everything, but then he ends up doing the right thing, and that leads me to the kind of the moral of this. Chaz kind of said it. Chaz and Lil both said two different things, but I think those two said the moral of this episode. The first being is that God will forgive us. You know, if we're truly sorry, if we have Jesus in our hearts, because someone had to pay the price for our sins. And by the way, this is the gospel right here, and I'm just mentioning it in this episode and this episode alone because it mentions God and directly relates into it. Now, Jesus took the penalty of our sins. If we truly believe in Jesus and have him in our heart, he will forgive us of all our sins. However, our sins had to be paid. Whether Jesus pays it for us or we pay for our sins is really up to us. That being said, the secondary plot is Christmas begins and ends in family. Now, Christmas begins and ends with God. However, family is second on that list. So I do feel like they did mention God and everything like that, and they did mention family. So as a Christian, I definitely think the morals are really good. It really all comes down to God, and then it comes down to family secondary. So it was really good to see that. And Chaz said, "We don't have nothing, we have everything," when Kira and Kimmy arrived. So I thought that was really touching, really great. 2 thumbs up. I think you already know that I'm giving this episode a 10 out of 10. Great episode. Loved it. Some of the transitions were as good. They even had a church scene. I just thought this episode was great. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one. Bye.